You know, what if I told you about a spiritual journey where the whole point wasn't to open a lock, but just to turn a key? It's a pretty wild concept, right? Well, today we're diving into this really fascinating, super intricate spiritual mission that happened in Rome, and it's all centered around this unique system they called the 13 Marian Keys. So yeah, let's get right into it.
And this quote, which comes straight from the group's own manual, is really at the heart of this whole thing. The guidance was not to open or close, but to turn, to move something. See, it just sets the stage perfectly. This whole mission, it wasn't about finding some final answer. No, it was all about creating movement, about shifting something, deep inside themselves, and maybe, just maybe, within all of us.
All right, so how did this whole thing even start? Where did it come from? Well, like so many of these epic spiritual quests, it all began with a call. Or actually, it was more like a series of calls that pointed a group of people right to the heart of the ancient world, Rome.
So the first bit of guidance came when the group was in Greece. It was simple. Go to Rome and turn the keys. Okay, but then later, when they were in Fátima, Portugal, the mission got a lot more specific. The message was to bring forgiveness to Peter. And here's where the symbolism gets really interesting. Fátima, you see, is considered this powerful, feminine, Marian altar of peace, and that's like a perfect mirror to the super-masculine energy of St. Peter's Square in Rome. So the whole idea was to connect and, well, bridge those two powerful energies.
So what exactly are these keys they were supposed to turn? Let's break it down, because they're not, actual physical keys. They're these powerful spiritual concepts, or attributes, that are inspired by what their manual calls the Universal Mother. And here they are: faith, light, peace, protection, all the way to fraternity. I mean, as you can see, every single key is a major virtue. But the mission wasn't just about, thinking about these nice qualities. The really important part was that each person in the group had to actively embody the energy of one of these keys for the entire pilgrimage. That was their job.
But here's what makes this system so different, and honestly, so powerful. It's not just about all the positive, feel-good virtues. It fully acknowledges the other side of the coin, the shadow. So for every key, there's a shadow aspect you have to look at. If you want to truly embody faith, you've got to confront your own doubt. To really activate forgiveness, you have to look your own resentment right in the eye. You see? It's a journey of bringing it all together, not just focusing on the light.
And this is exactly how the whole system turns into this incredible tool for deep personal work. It's not some abstract idea floating out there. No, it's a direct invitation to look inward. So for the key of faith, the question isn't some big vague thing like, do I have faith? It's, in which parts of my life do I lack trust? It forces you to get really specific and look at the real nitty-gritty parts of your own life.
Let's take another one: forgiveness. This is such a powerful example. The work here is all about finding those stones we're all carrying around, right? Those heavy resentments that just keep us stuck. And the whole point, the goal, is to turn that key of forgiveness and just let those stones dissolve.
Okay, now this is where things get really, really layered and just wow. So these 13 keys, they're not just a random list of nice words. They are meticulously organized into this super complex spiritual system that pulls in astrology, the classical elements, and even sacred geometry. It's a whole framework.
And just take a look at this hand-drawn diagram from their original material. It lays out the whole structure beautifully. You can see right away how the keys are grouped under the 4 elements: fire, earth, air, and water. And then those elements connect to the body, the soul, and the mind. And smack dab in the middle, you've got that 13th key, unity, which is literally holding the entire system together. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, let's go even deeper. So the 12 main keys are actually mapped to the 12 signs of the zodiac. And from there, they're organized into 4 trines, which is basically just a group of 3. So you have these elemental groups. For instance, the fire trine is called the spirit of purpose. It connects the keys of transmutation, love, and light with the fire signs Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And each one of these trines has its own unique spiritual job to do.
And it doesn't stop there. The system keeps building. Those elemental groups then combine to form 2 even bigger structures, 2 greater trinities. So you've got the fire and air elements coming together to form what's called the masculine soul star. That's all about expansion and moving forward. And then you have the earth and water elements joining up to create the feminine earth star, which is all about grounding, anchoring, and devotion.
So, this leads us to the big question, right?
What is the whole point of this? What happens when you manage to unify all of these different elements in keys? What's the ultimate goal of bringing together the masculine and the feminine, the heavens and the earth?
Well, the goal is something called the activation of the Merkaba. Now, this is a really ancient term for what you could call a vehicle of ascension, or a crystalline field of light. It's this energy field that's believed to be created when your spirit, your mind, and your body are all perfectly, completely integrated.
And the way it's visualized is absolutely key. The Merkaba is shown as two pyramids or tetrahedrons that are interlocked. Imagine one pointing up, representing that masculine trinity, spinning clockwise, and the other points down, representing the feminine trinity, spinning counterclockwise. When they get activated and spinning together, they create this incredible, unified energy field. And the name itself breaks it down for us. Mer means light, Ka means spirit, and Ba means body. It's literally the unification of everything you are.
Okay, so this whole incredibly complex system, it wasn't just some theory they were talking about. Not at all. The group took this entire framework and put it directly into action. They went on a 3-day pilgrimage and performed these activations at very specific, very sacred sites all across the city of Rome. So let's walk through what they actually did. Their journey started at the famous Trevi Fountain. There, they focused on activating the elements of water and air for purification and surrender. The next day was packed. They went to St. Peter's Square, the Pantheon, and St. John Lateran to work with the earth, air, and fire elements. But it all led up to the final day. This is where they activated ether, the 5th element. And get this, they did it at a church that was built directly on top of an ancient Roman temple to the goddess Isis. Talk about a powerful symbolic act for awakening the feminine key.
And you know what? The work didn't even stop in Rome. Through the activations, they actually uncovered this tension between the energies of the mind and the heart. So what did they do? A part of the group just kept going. They traveled to Assisi to work with what they called the matrix of the Poor Clares to help heal and integrate that tension. It just shows that this whole journey was alive. It was evolving in real time based on what they were discovering.
The group actually used this Chinese proverb to think about their whole experience. 1 grain of rice can tip the scale. And it's such a beautiful idea, isn't it? It suggests that these small, super-focused, intentional actions, like a small group of people walking through Rome trying to embody these powerful virtues, that could be the one single grain of rice that tips the scales and kicks off a much bigger, widespread change.
And really, that brings it all back to us, doesn't it? This whole story is like this incredible map for our own inner work. So I guess I'll just leave you with this to think about. If all these keys, faith, love, forgiveness, unity, are actually parts of you, what do you think would start to move? What would shift in your own life if you consciously decided to turn them instead of just trying to open some door?